Hello and welcome to day 4 of your 28-day challenge. Outside today. Today is about mindfulness. And first thing I want to say is I hope you're all enjoying your 28-day challenge. Do as much of it as you can. Do the exercises that are appropriate for you. It's more just about checking in and having that 28 days that you commit to. So don't worry too much if you can't get through the whole class, or if you find yourself doing a few moves and then decide that you want to stay with a particular exercise or stretch out during a particular exercise. You don't have to necessarily follow it. It is there for a guide, but the biggest thing about the challenge is more, like I said, making sure that you dedicate 28 days to yourself, that you can check in with your mind, check in with your body, and start to feel what it's trying to tell you. So the important part about mindfulness today, I know a lot of people ask, what is mindfulness? There's a lot of descriptions, there's a lot of things that can be involved in it, but the easiest way that I think I can explain it to you here is to say that mindfulness is any practice that brings you day-to-day or moment-to-moment awareness of your thoughts, your feelings, and your body sensations. That's probably the easiest way that I can describe it to you. So we can achieve mindfulness through breath work. We can also achieve it through meditation. We can achieve it through maybe a restorative yoga class, anything that forces you to really come into yourself and pay attention to what's happening in the here and now. So there's a lot of different mindfulness practices that do involve either breath work or meditation or really gentle, slow poses. And if you think about the idea of it being that you start to learn to pay attention to what your thoughts, feelings, and body sensations are, just think of any of those times that you would be taking those things into account. I know that people who don't quite enjoy meditation have other forms of things in their day that are meditative for them. So when I worked at a retreat in Sri Lanka, I know a lot of the clients came to do surf camp. Some of them didn't necessarily want to participate in meditation, but they found being out on the waves, on the surfboard, was really their meditative state, because they were forced to, pay attention to what's going on around them, see the waves, listen to, where other people, other surfers are, really brings them into that present moment. So yes, mindfulness can be achieved in a lot of different ways, but you want to have some sort of mindfulness practice because you want to have some ability to really understand your thoughts, have an awareness of your thoughts, feelings, and sensations, so that you really start listening to what the body needs and what your mind needs, and when you need to relax and when you need to stop. In our society, we do often push ourselves further than the body or mind wants. Sometimes it might be short term, sometimes it might be something that we develop over time, constantly pushing ourselves, constantly working too much or not taking enough time to really check in with ourselves. So I really would like you to start a mindfulness practice. It can be anything, it can be something different every time. Some days it might just be focusing on what your breath's doing and really feeling the body sensation that's created through that breath. Some days it might be trying a bit of meditation, even if you only last 2-5 minutes. A good practice to have after meditation is to journal. And the reason for that is when you quieten the mind and you sit and just be still with yourself, things might come up that bother you, things might trigger you. Having that ability to journal them afterwards really gives you a chance to start working out what it is that's going on in your life. Work out what's the most important, work out these things that are triggering you, things that are causing you to have reactions. For example, you might be upset about something and you've told yourself that I'm over that, I'm not going to think about it anymore, but you haven't actually sat and dealt with it. And so that pain or that anger may present itself, and most times it will present itself in a completely different way. So despite the fact that you've told yourself you're over something, you're not going to talk about it, you might find yourself that day just being more angrier than normal, or you might find yourself getting shitty the next time something similar happens because you never really sat and had a moment to be aware of how that thought or how that situation or how you were treated or how you treated someone actually made you feel. So what we're going to do for our mindfulness practice today is actually just focus on our breath. You do have the option to then journal afterwards. You might find that whilst you're just having a gentle breath that you find certain things are ruminating in your head. You can't stop thinking about them. They're going over and over and over again, and that is what you need to journal and write down and start thinking about why that keeps happening. What is it that you haven't dealt with? What conversation do you need to have, or what's something that you need to do for yourself so that that stops affecting you? So let's start with a gentle breathwork practice today so that we can start to become more mindful of our thoughts, of our feelings, and of our bodily sensations, so that we can live a calmer and happier life because we know what our body needs and what our mind needs. So you can close your eyes down if you wish and just slowly breathe in through the nose. So one of the things that you might want to visualize is how that looks within the body. So how the chest expands, how you might want to imagine what it looks like when it expands. You might just want to feel it. You might just want to hear the breath as well. So some people will pay attention to the auditory sound. Some people will pay attention to the visualization that they make. Others will really want to feel the body experience. And all of them are correct depending on what kind of person you are. So if it helps you, I know I like to close my eyes down to connect because I'm more of a feeling-based person on what happens within the rib cage. So closing the eyes down here if you wish. You're just going to take a count of 4 breath in. If you find 4 is a little too much for you, you can shorten it down to 3 or to 2. And really think about that expansion through the rib cage, just so you don't lift your shoulders and hold all the tension in the top half of your body. So think inhale, and then exhale through the nose if you can. If you have any sinus issues and you need to breathe through the mouth, that's perfectly fine. Inhale for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. As you continue this, I want you to concentrate on that breath in the easiest way possible for you. Maybe you can hear the sound of your breath. Maybe you can feel the expansion of the rib cage growing out like an accordion, drawing back in. Maybe you want to visualize what the rib cage does as you breathe. And as you're simply breathing here, take a moment to really start to quieten the mind down. Really starting to come into that space in the body. Wherever your attention's drawn, maybe your attention's drawn to your mind. Maybe it's a thought ruminating. Maybe your attention is drawn to a sensation in the body. Maybe your heart feels sad or happy. Or maybe your attention is drawn to a little bit of tension or pain. Maybe you're carrying an injury. Maybe it's the body's way of telling you to rest it, not give it such a hard time. So just continue with this breath 3 more times. Inhale for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Last breath here for 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly bring your awareness back to wherever you are. Maybe you're relaxing at home. Maybe you're out in a park, like me, getting a bit of nature. So, whatever came up for you, feel free to write it down. Maybe it's something that you're worried you don't have enough time to do today. Maybe it's a bigger issue that's been bothering you for a few weeks or a few months or a few years even. Or maybe you felt some pains or twinges in the body and it reminded you that you need to give them a bit more love, stretch them out a bit more, give them a little bit more relaxation, whatever is needed. And you can take your time to write them down. You don't have to get everything off your chest right now. Maybe it's something you just want to note down that you felt, something you want to get back to later to really explore why that happens. But the reason why we do this is the more as we go through life, if we can pull ourselves up instead of reacting to every situation. What happens with our mindfulness practices is the more that we become more mindful, our body triggers us in one of those 3 ways, and we actually understand what it's saying, as opposed to being very reactive and just responding to something that happens to you in a very negative or aggressive way. Gives you a chance to go, well, hang on a minute. I can understand why I'm starting to feel upset. That's the body sensation I'm having, is well, that's the feeling that I'm having. I'm starting to feel upset. The body sensation around that might be that you start to tense your shoulders, or your heart starts to beat faster, you might get anxious, etc. And then the thoughts that might come across your mind are quite negative, or feeling silly, or like you shouldn't have done what you did, etc. So the more mindful practices you can bring into your day, the easier it becomes to not react to everything all the time. So we know that sometimes someone might upset us, but it's not necessarily, most of the time, it's not about anything that we've done. And all we get to choose how we react to it. So I hope that's helped. Thank you for joining day 4. Keep up the good work, and we'll have more mindfulness practices next week and some exercise tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye.